Okay, so today our topic is cell injury in the subject veterinary pathology. So it is the topic of general pathology. Okay, general veterinary pathology. So let us try to understand this. So let us start. So there are two models or two modes of cell injury. There are two modes in which the cell injury can take place. Two models in which the cell injury can take place. So first is called let me change the color. This color is perfect. Okay, so there are two models. First is called ischemic plus hypoxic cell model of cell injury, and second is called free radical model of cell injury. Okay, so if we talk about ischemic plus hypoxic model of cell injury, in this lecture we will study the ischemic plus hypoxic cell injury model. So let us try to understand the meaning of these two terms, ischemia and hypoxia. So what is ischemia? Ischemia is the loss of blood supply to a tissue. Okay, loss of blood supply to a tissue, and it can take place by various conditions that will not look at those today. But ischemia is the loss of blood supply to a tissue. And what is hypoxia? Hypoxia is the loss of oxygen supply to a tissue. Simple. Now the question may arise, which type of cell injury is more harmful, ischemic or hypoxic? So ischemic or hypoxic, ischemic cell injury is more harmful than hypoxic cell injury because, so this is an important question. This question is important. Okay, so ischemic type of cell injury is more harmful than hypoxic cell injury. This is because in hypoxia there is only a deficiency of loss of oxygen or deficiency of oxygen, loss of oxygen only. Okay, loss of oxygen only. But in ischemia there is loss of both metabolic substrate and oxygen, so hence there will be no ATP production. Okay, since in ischemia there is a loss of blood supply, then through blood various substrates are also being transferred, which help in the production of ATP. Since now there is loss of blood supply, then the loss of substrate will be there and loss of oxygen will be there. Okay. Now ischemic or hypoxic cell, if a cell is ischemic, suffering from ischemia or suffering from hypoxia, what will happen? Oxidative phosphorylation will decrease. So what is oxidative phosphorylation? Oxidative phosphorylation is a process which with the help of which ATP is produced. Okay, so because of oxidative phosphorylation will decrease, then ATP production will decrease. When ATP production will decrease, then AMP production will increase. So why is the production of AMP harmful for the cell? The production of AMP is sometimes harmful for the cell. This is because what will happen? AMP is produced when there is a lack of energy in the cell. Okay, when ATP is less in the cell, when there is a deficiency of ATP in the cell. So this will result in the production of AMP. So when AMP will increase, when there is a increased production of AMP within the cell, then it will show that it means that the ATP is less within the cell, so the cell is continuously breaking down ATP to produce AMP for its use, for its energy use. So that is why production of AMP is harmful. So now what will happen? ATP production, decrease of ATP production will lead to three effects: dysfunction of sodium potassium pump, anaerobic glycolysis, and other effects. Let us try to understand one by one. So first is dysfunction of sodium potassium pump. So what is this sodium potassium pump? What is the function of sodium potassium pump? Sodium potassium pump, what it does is throws out 3 sodium ions outside, and takes in 2 potassium ion inside. Okay, so this is a normal function of sodium potassium pump. But what will happen in this case, when there is low oxygen concentration, then sodium potassium pump works in an opposite manner. How in an opposite manner? It intakes 3 sodium, calcium and water, and throws out 2 potassium. See, in normal condition it takes in 2 potassium, but in this abnormal condition, ischemic or hypoxic condition, it throws out 2 potassium. So this is an abnormal functioning of, or opposite manner functioning of, sodium potassium pump. What will happen? Now when so much of solute, that is ions, are entering the cell, then water will also enter into the cell due to osmosis. Okay, so much solute is entering into the cell. See, inside the cell, our intracellular concentration is high of negatively charged proteins and potassium. Okay, so now what will happen? Negatively charged protein and so much ions, that is sodium, water and calcium ions, are entering into the cell, then water will also enter into the cell. Then next what will happen is that this will lead to acute cellular swelling. This is very important. Acute cellular swelling. Acute means instantly the swelling will take place. Okay, now acute cellular swelling is the first step in cell injury. In most type of cell injury, acute cellular swelling is the first step, and this is a very important point. Acute cellular swelling is the first step in cell injury, and first ER will swell, then mitochondria will swell, and then cytoplasm as a whole will swell. First, second, third. Okay. Now next is anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration, next there are three effects. Okay, there are three effects. So first is dysfunction of sodium potassium pump, which we discussed. Now second is anaerobic glycolysis. Okay, so there was a disturbance. So anaerobic, next effect is anaerobic respiration or anaerobic glycolysis. So okay, so this anaerobic respiration will lead to production of lactic acid. We know that when anaerobic respiration take place, anaerobic fermentation take place, then lactic acid alcohol is produced. So in this case, lactic acid is produced, and this will lead to a decrease of pH of cytoplasm. When cytoplasm will decrease, this will lead to the clumping of nuclear material. Okay, this will lead to the clumping of nuclear material. So this is another harmful effect. Then there are some other effects also, like conversion of polyribosome into monoribosome, and this will lead to decreased protein synthesis and increased fat deposition. Now all these three effects will lead to membrane damage. All these three effects will lead to membrane damage, but till here the injury is reversible. Okay, till here the injury is reversible. It can easily reverse when the irritant is removed or when the stimuli is removed. But now starts the irreversible cell injury. So this is ischemic or hypoxic cell, that is decreased oxygen. We consider decreased oxygen simply. So first is decreased ATP. Now what will happen when ATP will be decreased, and phospholipid synthesis will also get decreased, because in every synthesis we require energy. So since phospholipids are an important component of cell membrane, so membrane is damaged irreversibly. Since phospholipids are not present in the membrane, so membrane will not be complete, membrane structure will not be complete, so the cell membrane will be damaged irreversibly. Okay. Now oxygen deficiency will also lead to increased cytosolic calcium. Why will the cytosolic calcium increase in absence of oxygen? In absence of oxygen, the cytosolic calcium will get increased. Its concentration will increase because of the fact that due to low oxygen concentration within the cytoplasm or cell, all the calcium from mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum will enter into the cytoplasm. Okay. So this increased cytosolic calcium will lead to two enzyme activation, that is phospholipase activation and protease activation. Okay, so for both these enzymes, phospholipase and protease, so what will happen, phospholipase will digest the phospholipids of the cell membrane, and protease will digest the proteins of the cell membrane. Okay, so both of these will damage the membrane and causing the irreversible cell injury. Okay, here membrane is damaged. Now this will lead to increased cytosolic calcium firstly. Okay, now when the membrane will be damaged, when membrane will get damaged, then now we know that the concentration of calcium outside the cell is 10,000 times more than within the cell. So when the cell membrane will get damaged, and all the calcium will enter into the cell, and this will lead to, firstly it will lead to the mitochondrial dysfunction. Next it will lead to lysosomal dysfunction. This lysosomal dysfunction is very fatal for the cell, very dangerous for the cell. Since lysosome contain digestive enzymes, so their membrane damage will lead to release of digestive enzymes within the cytoplasm. This will digest the whole cell. So when, let us revise it again from here. Now when membrane gets damaged, the cell membrane gets damaged, then the cytoplasm calcium concentration, which is 10,000 times more outside in the extracellular fluid than the intercellular fluid cytoplasm, the calcium will enter into the cell. This will firstly lead to mitochondrial dysfunction, and second it will lead to lysosomal dysfunction. And what will lysosomal dysfunction do is, this lysosome, what it will do is, it contains digestive enzymes, so when its membrane get damaged, this will lead to the release of digestive enzyme within the cytoplasm, and this will digest the whole cell except fat. So these are not digested and appear as myelin fibers. So these will appear as myelin fibers. Okay, and these fiber will have there are two possible outcome for these. Fate means outcome for these fat myelin fibers. So first is they will be phagocytized by the phagocytic cells of the body, or second they will be degenerated. Okay, they will be decayed or degenerated. So degenerated, if they will be degenerated, then they will be converted into calcium and fatty acid, calcium ion and fatty acid, and these are collectively called calcium phosphatase. So this is the whole mechanism of hypoxic and ischemic cell injury. So this we discuss. Thank you.